Ladies and gentlemen, everything between, hello, welcome to the channel. If you have been subscribed to my other channel, which I just passed 100k on, might I say, you would know that I'm a big fan of a Little Mix. I got a request over in this channel, in my community tab, to react to more British bands. You guys always tell me that you're more than Little Mix, you're more than the godly Beatles. You guys know I've visited Abbey Road Studios and London and all that. Not gonna get into it, but basically y'all are like the pioneers in the sense of music groups. So I'm going to be checking out the top 10 greatest British rock bands in all of history, and y'all have a lot. So let's get into it. Subscribe if you like the video, do all that. And can I just say, make sure you comment down below and pay attention to the community tab, because that is actually where I get my video requests. So I want to do the content y'all want, so comment down below and head over to community tab. Enough talking. What is this? What is my life? All right, we got British rock bands. My God, Sex Pistols.
Punk rock, classic rock, and new wave icons from the UK.
No! There's no, I don't, oh my God. Coldplay is British? Ain't no way. First of all, where's the accent? Second of all, when did they come here? How is Coldplay British? Coldplay! Blink 182, you know the I'm just a normal boy, the sanction of a no. Like my whole entire era of just like what do you even call it? Rock bands, I guess, like boyish rock bands, and this whole time they're British? Mind blown. Wow, Coldplay is British. That's insane.
Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today
I can't
we'll be
believe
counting
it.
down our picks for the top 10 British rock bands.
The Clash. We stand London.
For this list, we're counting down the most influential music groups from the United Kingdom, regardless of whether they were together.
I can tell by the dude with the big hair. Is this the real life? Is Queen?
Together for decades or just a few years.
Led Zeppelin. Oh, you can. Dick print is out, buddy. But Led Zeppelin is British. Never would have guessed it. You know, you have the classic rock bands, Queen, Led Zeppelin. You've got Kiss. That entire era, Aerosmith. Are all of them British? Hell, I don't know. Y'all were the ones pioneering the entire era, though, so I wouldn't be surprised. Homie, his entire junk is out.
Does anybody remember last night?
Just a castaway, I'm in the Dead Sea. Oh. This is one of my favorite rock songs. Oh my God.
Number 10, The Police.
Just a castaway. Message in a bottle. Sexy. Oh. British, of course. Leanness. Here but me. Oh. Did we see the hair? When did they come out? Sending out an SOS for those hairstyles. What is this? A mullet on a woman.
Some of our younger Mojoholics may not correlate the recent version of Sting
The
with punk rock.
fashion.
However, back in 1978, he and his fellow Londoners of The Police burst onto the scene with an eclectic debut album.
I've got to get into The Police, because you're telling me they released Message in a Bottle and Roxanne, two of the like most iconic rock songs in all of existence. We got to check out more of The Police for sure on the music channel.
Working both as the lead vocalist and primary songwriter, Sting touched on his literary influences as the band proceeded to deliver 4 innovative productions within a 5-year span.
No. Every breath you take, every move you make. The Police too? They're 3 for 3.
Leading up to their most famous hit,
I'll be watching
Every
you.
Breath You Take.
They're 3 for 3. How do you make that big old, I don't even know what it's called. It's not a harp. It's like a violin on steroids. How you get that big old thing to be rock? It looks like a classical, belongs in an orchestra or symphony. No bass, just on a rock song. Wow. Every time you break, every step you take.
In essence, the Police could rock out with the best of their fellow post-punk artists. However, their cultured aesthetics ultimately produced a universal appeal.
I don't know this one. What? This is how I know it was before my time, because what is it? Is that a walkie-talkie with headphones? I don't know how y'all survived in, like, the prehistoric days, because what is that? With the the big old cell phone, like the first cell phone, it was like a huge thing. How'd you even put it in your pocket? Life. Baby. Is this still
Number
the Police?
9.
Radiohead. I have heard of Radiohead. Not any of their specific songs come to mind, but I've heard of them.
Radiohead.
Can't get the stink out. He's been hanging around
A staple of the 90s alternative sound, this band actually formed in the mid-80s while attending a boarding school in Abingdon.
Wow. Can you imagine you send your kid to go learn in boarding school, you're paying $10,000 a week for the education, just for him to come back punk rock, and depressed?
Originally known as On a Friday, the crew looked to a Talking Head song for their new name, and when Creep hit the radio in 1992, Tom York and company solidified themselves as one of the most promising bands around.
but I'm a creep.
Okay, if I had to choose between the Police and Radiohead, I'd choose something about the Police is just like vibey and happy and fun. This kind of scares me. It's like Billie Eilish, but more depressed, because there's guitars. It's interesting though. Who, out of all the bands that we've seen so far, who did you grow up on listening to, and what is your favorite song? Comment down below.
Of course, transformative albums like The Bends and OK Computer would cement Radiohead as international stars, while the lyrical proficiency and melancholic sound touched a nerve with Generation X.
Generation X. Huh. One of his eyes is bigger than the other. Nursing school, head-to-toe assessment. Sorry, but I noticed. Bilaterally not equal. Neither are his ears.
And perhaps to everyone's surprise, they managed to not only stay together, but deliver another decade of iconic indie albums through the 2000s.
Okay. Interesting. They're weird, but they're cool. I was just thinking the other day, you got Green Day. Who else do we got? Green Day, My Chemical Romance. I was thinking all these bands that I really liked aren't even around anymore. Radiohead stayed around for a whole decade. That's iconic. Here we go. This is the Radiohead?
Number 8. Iron Maiden.
Again, you hear all these classic rock groups, and the fact that practically all of them, except for Kiss, are British. 2 minutes to midnight. I swear to God, if he says that Dream On is from freaking England, I'm going to riot. Y'all can't have everything. I refuse it. I refuse it.
Here's a bunch of new wave Brits, albeit of a slightly different order than the pop sounds of the early 80s.
I like the visuals,
And
Iron
when
Maiden.
in England, Iron Maiden took their name from the iconic Alexandre Dumas novel, The Man in the Iron Mask, and dropped their self-titled debut in April 1980.
Iron Maiden, just from these two songs that I've heard, kind of makes me want to, like, just, I don't know, rip up my homework and not turn it in. Like, that is as extreme as it gets for me. They're iconic. And how the heck did British people get this prim and proper persona if y'all basically created rock? Well, didn't create rock, but a lot of your bands influenced rock, because we all know who did create the genre of rock. Not getting into it though.
Decades and dozens of albums later, Iron Maiden became the most influential band of the heavy metal genre.
Heavy
Their
metal.
mascot remains an unmistakable fixture of the musical culture.
I must say the vocals are on point, as well as the hair. I don't know what the other dudes were doing with that mullet and stuff and the weirdness, but I like the long hair.
They set the standard for a new era of musicians and never stopped thrashing.
The Trooper! How do you even move your hands fast enough? Don't know the song, but I know the chords. Let's see the name of the song.
Number 7. Black Sabbath.
Another name that I know to be iconic, and of course it's British. I'm so surprised though by this video. Literally every single like name branded rock band is British at this point.
Before there was Maiden,
The hair.
there was Black Sabbath. Based in Birmingham, England, this group joined forces in the late 60s and fused together a blend of classic rock with something a bit more heavy.
I think this was on Guitar Hero, this song. I'm pretty sure.
In fact,
Yes, it was. Dun, 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 dun. And I always, when I had star power, I would always lose it because I'd miss a freaking beat. Shout out to them.
Ozzy Osbourne and his bandmates innovated the heavy metal genre.
Ozzy
Kicked off
Osbourne!
the 70s with a string of albums that would provide an alternative to the more pop-friendly sounds of the time.
A lot of
Back in the
emotion
day,
and
it
sweat.
wasn't necessarily the cool kids that were listening to Sabbath, but as it turns out, that's exactly who they were. Independent and anti-establishment, this wrecking crew changed the game for aspiring metalhead musicians everywhere.
I'm sorry, but did you see the set design? It's all just so crazy. Like, compared to music and music videos nowadays, live performances, this is like a whole other world.
Independent and anti-establishment, this wrecking crew changed the game for aspiring metalhead musicians everywhere.
Homie looks like he's wearing a wig, like a lace front. Push it back. The hair. The hair. This has to be the 60s or something. Very, from the bell bottoms to the 60s.
Number 6, The Who.
The Who.
People try to put us
Ooh, the sideburns. A whole other era Favour. I'm just tripping on the hair.
It's somewhat of a rock cliche to destroy a guitar on stage, but it was this band that first embraced the form of auto-destructive art.
I'm gonna need your fight to prove I'm right.
He had, what was he using back? What conditioner? L'Oreal? Because look at that head of hair.
Undoubtedly one of the most influential rock bands ever formed, The Who emerged during the British invasion, and their outlaw antics stood them apart from other musicians exhibiting more, appropriate behavior.
What does he mean by that? And what is he talking about British invasion? Was this during World War I and II, I guess? British invasion? Oh my.
They closed off the 60s with the groundbreaking rock
60s.
opera Tommy, and they later established themselves as one of their quintessential rock bands with a full decade's worth of personal anthems for
They
the more
aged.
album-oriented rock bands of the early Rolling Stone era.
Okay, so the Rolling Stones then, the name of the era are American, correct? Watch, we get to like number 1 and he says, the British people, Rolling Stones.
Can bring the rain that falls like tears.
Nice to see his vocal cords sustained. Come on, hair. Dun, 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 dun. Ice Ice Baby.
Number 5, Queen.
I forgot. Iconic. Let me shut up for their entire section. Pay my respects. Now, Queen is like another level.
Today,
Oh
a
my
former American Idol contestant fronts this operatic fraternity.
It's probably because of copyright, but how can you give that little section to Queen? I mean, cool, Adam Lambert. I didn't know he was British. He was on American Idol, for God's sakes. But let's get back to Queen.
I won't let you down.
What do you want from me?
However, the late Freddie Mercury is the undeniable face of Queen, and one of the most recognizable faces of rock music.
Yes, we're going back. Sorry to pause it, but did I miss something? What does Freddie or Adam Lambert have to do with Queen?
Fronts this operatic fraternity.
I won't let you down.
However, the late Freddie Mercury is the undeniable face of
AIDS,
Queen,
rest
and one
in
of the
peace.
most recognizable faces of rock music.
He was ethereal.
With a plethora of popular British rock to draw their sound from, this band ultimately...
We're always going back and forth. Who's better? Who's better? Who's better? Just because, literally, this is the... Just for this video, I will say, since you guys created Queen, you can have it. Just for this one video, though. England, just for giving us Queen alone. I'll let you, for today, be better than America. For sure. You gave us Queen. Like, come on. Ugh, wow.
found a niche through the personality exhibited in both
And
their lyrics and the
everybody
deeply
wants to wash
dramatic
it down.
aesthetics of their evolving stage shows.
Oh, just gotta get right out of here.
Beginning with their self-titled debut in 1973, Queen remained the grandmasters of musical opera all the way to 1995's
Musical
Maiden.
opera. I like that sound. They really were. Rock and opera mixed together. A whole smorgasbord of just goodness.
Heaven, the final studio release upon the untimely death of their legendary frontman.
Don't stop me now. We'll see right out of you. Come on, we've got to just do a whole Queen video, man, with that. Hit after hit after hit after hit. So far for me, it's Queen and the Police. We stand. Both of them.
Number 4,
Pink Floyd. They're the ones with the triangle and rainbow stuff, right?
Oh, so you think you could tell heaven from hell?
Like many other progressive bands of the late 60s and 70s, it would be a crime to simply label these Londoners as acid rockers. But what do you expect when you make albums that make listeners drift away into their dreams? The average music fan...
So we said acid rock. I've never listened to Pink Floyd. Is it... As of right now, I would say maybe they're overhyped. If I had to choose between Fleetwood Mac, which comes to mind, or Pink Floyd, I'd choose Fleetwood Mac. Now maybe that's just my ignorance and I haven't listened to them yet, but just from that one song, what's the hype? Let me know. Comment down below.
fan will immediately associate Pink Floyd with The Wall or Dark Side of the Moon, and with good reason.
This is a reference probably to the Berlin Wall. I'm going to go ahead and say that. From the time period to what they're talking about.
But truth be told, the multifaceted band released 4 late 60s classics that set the tone for the equally mind-blowing productions of the 70s.
Wait a dang minute. You're telling me they were topping the charts talking about apples and oranges? In a room of crates? No judgment.
Pink Floyd created an atmospheric experience to be enjoyed with no moderation necessary. Well, musically speaking, that is.
I can see that a lot of their music has like a message. I like this one.
Number 3,
What's he doing?
The Rolling Stones.
the makeup, just his cadence, the hair, we stand. I don't know who you are. The Rolling Stones, I know them. Which, by the way, of course the Rolling Stones are freaking British. Of course they freaking are.
No one here gets out alive, except Mick Jagger and Keith Richards. The American blues originally influenced the
They're all
band
dead?
of rockers, and when the British invasion occurred in the early 60s, you know they were at the forefront. As the most enduring rock band of the last 50 years, the Rolling Stones were arguably most popular from 1965 to 1980, delivering hard-hitting rock and roll licks that highlighted the band's personality.
Like, I can't believe they've been around that long. I thought they were just like the 70s, 80s, but they've been around since the 60s. Like, if you see on YouTube sometimes those compilations of like the best music for whatever, and you see these black and white videos, and it's always the 50s or the 60s, homies are included. The Rolling Stones. They've been around for... My pizza's done and it's beeping in the background. But that's crazy. They've been around for a long time. They're all dead, though.
And while their musical output has been rather tame since the 1990s, it doesn't really matter given they continue to inspire by touring the world year after year.
They're not dead. They're not dead.
Number 2, Led Zeppelin. Yet another
He's saucy.
classic rock band influenced by American blues music. This London group, they released 4 explosive albums that firmly took a hold over the younger demographic. In a time when rock and roll fans pledged their allegiance to one particular band, everybody loved them some Led Zeppelin, even if they claimed otherwise. Unfortunately, the music ended with the 1980 death of drummer John Bonham.
And she's falling. I stay away
Oh.
to heaven.
Is that an ode to their drummer?
Before we reveal
But honestly, great. I mean, it's nice that they didn't replace him. They just ended the whole band. Led Zeppelin? What's the history with Led Zeppelin? Let me know.
our top pick, here are a few honorable mentions.
Def Leppard. It's British. Of course. Of course. Elephants and stuff. Genesis. Do your heart. I've heard the song before. Do your heart. Yeah. Yeah. The Kinks. The sideburns go out here. Lola. Oasis. I've heard of them. This was a whole different lifestyle. What is this? What is this? This is nice. Who are they?
Number 1,
Oh. I should have guessed it just from the scene. It looks like a painting. I should have guessed it was the freaking Beatles. I should have guessed it.
The Beatles.
Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going.
Seriously though, I recommend that you guys... I was spending my time the other night watching these videos. The best song from every month in the 60s. And the Beatles genuinely changed the entire course of the 60s. Their music in the 60s in the beginning part was like dreary, depressed, I love you, you're leaving, we're breaking up, And then the Beatles came along and it's like, I don't care, let's party. It's like a huge contrast from like 1963 to 5 and so on in music. I recommend go watch.
Okay, you all expected these guys to be our number 1 choice, and there's a good reason for that. It's because they're f***ing awesome. Unless you actually lived through the Beatles' music of the 1960s, you should forget about...
I always remember him. He passed away though, rest in peace.
What pop culture tells you to believe, and simply experience the music for yourself.
Hold on, I've got to show you. Again, I mentioned I've been to Abbey Road Studios. Guess what I bought there? Hold on, I'll be back. They were extremely expensive, but worth the experience. It was extremely expensive, but do I regret it? No, my bank account does, not me. 2 vinyls from the actual recording studio that the Beatles. It's just like, live, you know? Live a life. Iconic. Hey, Jude. Who's Jude?
Album by album, track by track. There's no other band that influenced rock and roll like these lads from Liverpool, and they were
Liverpool!
already a
Their
well-rehearsed
accents
act
are
when they
weird,
first
probably.
arrived in America.
Genuinely, no one is more influential than the Beatles, aside from Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston, in all of music history. And maybe Prince, but you know what I'm trying to say though? Like, they're staples and they're one of them.
John, Paul, Ringo, George, for 8
Ringo
momentous
Starr.
years, the Beatles function on a higher level than most and changed the world as we know it.
It's just like, it's too much. Like, my entire soul is like getting overwhelmed. But also, what's her name? There was an Asian woman, she posed naked with one of the members. There's like a whole love story there. I gotta research that. We should check them out, whoever they are. The Asian woman and the other member of the Beatles. Their entire love story. Whisper words of wisdom, let it be.
So, do you agree with our selections?
You do whatever you want, Britain, because that's insane. Literally every single important rock band y'all created. I gotta go get my pizza. I'll see you on the next one.